All right, you want to go ahead? Yeah. Yes. I will call this meeting of the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial Commission to order. I am Senator Jennifer McClellan, and while we do not yet have a quorum, we're going to go ahead and get started with the reports and presentation parts of our agenda. And any votes that we have, we will move towards the end of the agenda when we do have a quorum. I know we are expecting Senator Mamie Locke is in a meeting upstairs right now. And so I know she will get here, and we have two other people we expect to start to join us. But as per usual, I'd like to start with the commission members introducing themselves. We'll start with those in the room and then with those on Zoom. So we'll start to my far left, which is in the room, not politically. Delegate Wright.
Present.
Well, just introduce yourself and where you represent.
I'm sorry. I couldn't hear what you were saying. I beg your pardon.
That's okay.
My name is Tommy Wright. I represent the 61st District in the Virginia House of Delegates. It includes the counties of Mecklenburg, Lunenburg, Nottoway, Amelia, and Cumberland. It's my pleasure to serve on this commission and look forward to being with you today. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Matthew Gibson, Executive Director of Virginia Humanities, the state's Humanities Council, based out of Charlottesville, and I am a citizen member. Glad to be here also.
Thank you.
Adam Eben, member of the State Senate, representing parts of Alexandria, South Arlington, and in Fairfax County, Mount Vernon, and Lee. Happy to be here.
Dolores McQuinn, representing the 70th House District, which is a part of the city of Richmond, northern Chesterfield, all of Charles City, as well as Eastern Henrico. Glad to be here.
And I'm Kirk Schroeder. I'm an attorney here in Richmond. I live in Charlottesville, and I'm a citizen member. Thank you.
Dr. Laurinette Lee, University of Richmond, and resident of Chesterfield County.
Delegate Joshua Cole, and I represent the 28th House District, the city of Fredericksburg in Stafford County, and I'm excited to be here.
All right, and on Zoom?
Delegate Betsy Carr, 69th District, which represents large part of Richmond, mostly the south part, and I'm very privileged to be on the committee. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, so we will start with a very exciting report on the closing out of the construction and dedication of the Emancipation and Freedom Monument, which was dedicated back in September. And I believe, Amigo, are you going to give us an update on that?
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's a very short and straight and to the point update after some odd 12 years of working on this. But all of the bills have been paid. We even paid the AG and DGS. We also, just in terms of what's available, we had received, I think, about $19,000 in a Verizon grant that is available. And I think if, in the next part of what you're going to talk about is, what are some things to do more with the site, and that money would certainly be available for any of that. So basically, just in terms of the total cost of the project was 1,184,102.07. As I said, the project is completed. If you've had a chance to go down there, it looks great, and all of the bills are paid, which is always something good to say.
Thank you, Amigo. And for those who could not attend, we have in your packet the program from the unveiling ceremony on September 22nd, The dedication was live streamed on both the commission's Facebook page, the governor's Facebook page, and Twitter feed, and that lives on the commission's Facebook page. I believe, Lily, is it also on our website? It's also on our website. We hired a professional photographer and have received the photos from her that will be posted both on our Facebook page and on our website as soon as I remember to give Lily the flash drive. And we got quite a bit of national press on the unveiling. I have also noticed there have been several public events at the site. I have spoken to at least 2 tour groups from out of state of both students and seniors, including one of a gentleman who marched at Selma, who had visited. The governor did a press conference Friday related to returning formerly incarcerated individuals returning back into the community. Shortly after the unveiling, we had the Richmond Folk Festival. And so I think that was the first big public event since the monument had been unveiled. So definitely something that we can be proud of. Any questions about sort of what's happened to date with the monument? All right, if not, so one of the things that we noticed, and we'll have to wait until Senator Lott gets here and we have a quorum to vote on this, but as you remember, we had about 100 people who were nominated to be featured on the monument, and we could only fit 10. And so we said once the monument was completed, we would discuss, what, if anything, we wanted to do to recognize other African American Virginians who were instrumental in the fight for emancipation and the fight for freedom post-Civil War. I don't think we have a picture here, but on the square, or the circle, yeah, if you look in the front of the program, I think you can not really see it, but there is a circle of bricks that once we were there and actually looked at the site and talked to the architect, we could engrave names on the bricks. We could even engrave names on the benches on the front if we wanted, similar to what the Women's Monument has done with their Wall of Honor. And so wanted to, oh, thank you. Yeah, that's much better.
Thank you.
So you see there are the regular bricks, there is the circle sort of around the monument itself, and then there is the wall along the back. And the action item here, and again, we'll wait until Senator Locke arrives to vote, but the question is if the commission would want to move forward with engraving names, I'm going to say right now, somewhere along the monument. If the commission decides it wants to move forward with that, then at our first meeting in 2022, I will have a proposal for exactly what that would look like, whether we would open back up to the public an additional round of nominations, because I think there's room for many more people. But the first question would be if the commission wants to move forward with that process. And I'll open it up for discussion now.
Madam Chair?
Senator Upton.
If I could just ask, I'm kind of curious, how many historical figures do we know that potentially could be engraved? Do we know how large that pool is of documented folks?
Thousands, probably. So for the newer members of the commission, let me back up and tell you sort of the process we got to the current list. We did a public nominations process where we received nominations from our website, from email. We held 5 public hearings across the Commonwealth in the 5 geographic regions to solicit nominations subject to specific criteria that they had to be African Americans who were either born in or spent a significant portion of their life or were known for some significant action in the Commonwealth, divided into 2 time periods, one pre-1865 and then post, and that category was people who were instrumental in the fight to abolish slavery or resist slavery. And then from 1865 to, I think, 1970, who were instrumental in the fight for equality and civil rights and freedom post-Civil War. That process resulted in about 10 or 11 individuals nominated pre-emancipation and about 90 individuals post. Then we held another round of public hearings. Well, then we narrowed that to 30 and held another round of public hearings and another public comment process on the 30 finalists to come up with the 10 that are on now. So I think at a minimum, we've got 100. But because that process was done 5 years ago, I think it probably would be a good idea for us to reopen that nomination process. And it could be thousands of people. Dr. Gibson, you want to add anything to that?
I'll just, Madam Chair, the one thought that occurs to me, having developed something called Encyclopedia Virginia, and the one big question we always had was, what do we include? What do we not include? Just mostly because of time and space. And this, of course, now has physical space. Do you imagine what would be the cap on the names that actually could occupy that space, that pedestal?
So that would be something we would present as part of the proposal after consultation with the architect. But at least 100, just looking at, if we're just talking about names alone, and that's something else we need to decide, names alone, names and birth and death dates, names and 1 or 2 sentences like we have on the monument. So that would be part of what we would flesh out in our first meeting.
And Madam Chair, if I could, I'm just thinking if we had several thousand names potentially and needed to whittle them down to a more finite number, I'm just thinking about the inclusion criteria for what that would actually be, because then it would ultimately become a subjective, exercise. And if we could allow more, is it possible to, looking at the bricks themselves, potentially use those to expand, to engrave names on each brick? I'm just thinking out loud. I don't know if that could work.
It does make sense, and again, I think this. So if the question right now is just yes, we want to move forward, or no, we don't, and if it's yes, then the working group, and I probably would have to appoint a new working group that includes a lot of the same people, because technically we will be a newly constituted commission in January. I would have the same working group that developed the process the first time, take that process and update it as necessary and decide, in consultation with the architect, how many names are we talking about. But the criteria before included geographic diversity, to the extent possible, gender balance, what I'll call walk of life diversity, like we didn't want all ministers or all elected officials. So that probably, unless the working group and the commission decided to change the criteria probably would be the same.
Thank you.
Senator, I've noticed in different places when names are in brick, after a while, they fade.
Mm-hmm.
I was just thinking if you might have an option whenever you get the, because I've never seen anybody go back and make the bricks that are fading look good again. So if you might want to have an option of having the names, maybe not on the brick, but somewhere else.
Okay, well, the one option, if you look at the picture, is on the bench, on the wall on the back, along the back, where the bench is. We could put them there. Delegate McQuinn.
Yeah, Madam Chair, thank you. The other thing is that probably would be good to explore in terms of technology has advanced so much. They're stenciling things, and I don't know the longevity of that, but there are other ways and processes that are in place to kind of put someone's name in cement, for lack of better analogy to be used at the moment. So certainly, I think that, we could also explore that possibility. The other thing is that when you look at names, I often, have seen names engraved in brick, and I'm walking along somewhere, and it may or may not be anything to indicate who this person was. So I would think that if we're going to do that, the least we could do is to make their name relevant in connection with what their life work was. And so it may be Jennifer McClellan and a one-liner that would express who Senator McClellan was and what she did. Okay, so I would hope that that would be given consideration in doing that.
Okay. Dr.
Madam
Lee?
Chair. Yes, thank you, Delegate McClellan. I like that idea. I'm wondering if we could use that with technology, whereas you use the QR code on your phone that will expand that narrative to include important dates and what their significance is in society. And so when we think about technology in this sense, I think we get a wider audience as well.
So on our website currently, and I don't know if there's a way to pull this up on the screen or not, but on our website currently, for the 10 individuals that are currently on the monument and everyone who was not, or at least the 30 finalists, we have about a paragraph, in some cases more, of biographical information and links to further information. So at a minimum, we would do something similar where you have their name and whatever we decide to do physically at the site, but there would be further information on our website. And we could, work out a way where there'd be a QR code or something there. Okay, we can't pull that up right now, but everyone should be intimately familiar with our website anyway, who is on this commission. And if you're not, I invite you to go look at it at your leisure, because there's a lot of information on it. Let's see. And I think we might be at a quorum now. Let me check. We've had two join us, so Dr. Brown and Dr. Carey. Would you all like to introduce yourselves and where you're from really quickly while I count how many people are here? Oh, good. Okay. Perfect. Dr. Brown, you can go.
You're younger than I am. Go ahead.
I was not going to say anything today, but thank you for your grace. Good afternoon. I'm Ron Carey, retired administrator, Richmond Public Schools, citizen member of the Martin Luther King Commission.
Ricardo Brown, Executive Director, Living the Dream, pastor, Fifth Baptist Church.
Madam Chair?
Dr. Schroeder.
Really, at this point, all we're talking about is whether to study this and come up with a proposal. Is that correct?
Yes.
So I'm going to make a motion that the commission go forward to give the chair the authority to appoint a group to come up with to study this issue and to come up with a proposal to present to the commission.
Second, Madam Chair.
Delegate McQuinn.
Madam Chair, just for clarification, study sounds like a very long time, so I am assuming that that's not what that means in terms of studying this. We're just going to.
I will amend my motion, Delegate, to make it clear that this group is to go forth.
Awesome.
To go forth, Madam Chair.
So if I may suggest the wording for that, it would be that the commission authorize the chair to reappoint this, or charge the monument working group with developing a proposal for including the names of other African-American Virginians relevant to the monument. Or we can use whatever phrasing we used for the 10 that are on there, and to bring that back to the commission for approval.
That's my motion.
Okay.
Senator.
Second, Madam Chair.
Aren't you glad your chair is a lawyer? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. And if you, has everyone seen been physically to the monument? Let me just say, if I have done nothing else in my life, that's the one thing I can say I did good. But it wasn't just me. Let me just say, let me back up. The one thing I'm proud to have been a part of, and what I'm particularly proud of is when the working group, before we saw any proposals, before we saw any submissions, we had a feeling we wanted to evoke, and that monument captured it in a way I never could have imagined. And I think we need to definitely honor and recognize Senator Henry Marsh for having the idea to begin with. But for COVID, he would have been there. And I hope he has had a chance to see it in person. But that was one of the most powerful moments of my life.
Yeah, it was. It really was.
All right. And speaking of monuments, in the last budget adopted by the General Assembly, the commission was authorized and granted, Amigo, do you remember how much? I think $50,000 to develop some kind of recognition on Capitol Square for Senator Yvonne Miller. We are not at a point to take action on that right now. I just want to update you all on where we are. It is because in part, we wanted to finish one monument before we started another. And there are many options for the commission, everything from a portrait. There are no portraits of African-American women on Capitol Square. It could be a statue, it could be a bust, it could be anything we want. And there is a possibility, if the commission so chooses, but it needs to be explored a little more, to incorporate Senator Miller in the Women's Monument that already exists. And oh, by the way, there's now space for a new statue on Capitol Square. And there may be space inside the Capitol. So I want to get some of those questions answered as far as what is the total universe of options before the commission puts together a working group to begin that process. But the next steps for that is I will appoint a working group to begin that process and handle that process very similar to the Emancipation Monument Work Group. So right now, the only action is if any of the members of the commission want to be appointed to that work group, to just let me know and you will be. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And Dr. Schroeder, as our resident expert on all monuments, you're definitely getting on, whether you want to be or not. Anyone else?
You got me right.
Yeah, I got Dr. Lee, Dr. Schroeder, and Delegate McQuinn. And I'll probably be on that one. And I suspect maybe Senator Locke will be on. Okay, so more to come on that. Next, we have Rick Tatnall is here to make a presentation on the MLK Freedom Fest.
Thank you. Senator McClellan, members of the commission, my name is Rick Tatnall, and I have an organization called Replenish Richmond. And I guess I've looked to the commission for my inspiration, because for half the time that y'all persevered for the Emancipation Statue, I've been actively trying to activate and turn into more useful purpose the fields and athletic fields back behind the Martin Luther King Middle School, which happened to be adjacent to and incorporated with the MLK, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial Bridge. I dare say there are a lot of people in Richmond and in Virginia that don't know that that bridge is named after Dr. King. And it isn't helped by the fact that Google Maps calls it the Lee Street Viaduct. So we're working on that component, and we've been very interested in both identifying for folks that this is the Martin Luther King Bridge, and also to turn it into a more worthy commemoration of Dr. King. In 2018, there was a mural that was placed at the eastern edge of the bridge that many of y'all may have seen because it's up top on the bridge. There's also a second mural that is pictured in this handout that's in your packet that is along the edge of the bridge that faces to the MLK preschool. And for the last couple of years, along with trying to orient more use of the space back behind the Martin Luther King schools, we've also been getting people to look at the bridge, both on top and actually underneath the bridge. There's a back entrance to the schools from 18th Street that goes underneath the MLK Bridge. O Street is below it between Oliver Hill Way and 18th Street. And it's kind of a no man's land. The ambulances and police officers stage under there because it's dry and cool in the summer and warmer in the winter. But it's not very well known and hasn't been utilized hardly at all. I saw it as an amazing event space, in large part because there's 6 lanes of a bridge above so that the rain doesn't get in the way. And in 2019, for the last couple of years, in 2018 and 2019, we held the I Have a Dream Festival, and in 2019, we actually did it under the bridge. We intended for that to be an annual event, and obviously COVID got in the way. Last year, or earlier this year, we did an event, the I Have a Dream Festival, which wasn't as oriented around the bridge. But we've come up with some ideas, and I've been working with students at Churchill Academy, which is a component of Churchill Activities and Tutoring. And we are instituting a new event that I'm here to invite the commission to become a part of. And as a part of that, we're also asking the Black History Museum and Cultural Center of Virginia to be a part of it. So I asked my friend Mary Lauderdale to join us because it's sort of a joint presentation I'm making today. And I chose Mary in large part because she's been so invested and involved in the museum to the point that she has a recent new title, Chief Curator of the Black History Museum. And so very excited to be able to tell you all that. What we're planning is, and this is the kids at Churchill Academy have been driving the show, and I'm just trying to follow along. We want to do an event to commemorate the life of Dr. King on his birthday. And so we've chosen this year on January 15th. The birthday happens to be on Saturday, and so it's a wonderful opportunity to start this new tradition. Next year, it's on the Sunday, and then the following year will be on the holiday of the Monday. And so what we're looking to do Even though it's COVID and even though things are a little uncertain, we're going to get started because this is a forever project. And we want to start to introduce the community of Richmond and the Commonwealth of Virginia to this bridge, which we're going to work to get Google to change the name so that it's appropriately named, to get a lot more color up on top of the bridge, and to try to do more things underneath the bridge to follow the life example of Dr. King in activating people towards community service and being involved in strengthening their community. And so on the 15th of January, unfortunately, I know that most of y'all are kind of engaged at this point in time of the calendar, and we can't change that. And on that one day, that's when the inauguration is on this year. But from 1 to 5, both under the bridge, on top of the bridge, and in the fields back behind, we're going to have an event, a free event to involve the community and to start to become invested and involved and inspired by Dr. King. It's going to be something that we want to do each year. And an important component of this, and the students from Churchill Academy, they've been very involved. They were going to come to the Emancipation Statue ceremony, but because of the rain and their tight schedules, they weren't able to be a part of it, but they did watch it on Zoom. And they are very involved and would like to do an interactive display that day for the commission as well as for the Black History Museum. And what we'd like to do is to orient it around Dr. King's time in Virginia, take advantage of the wonderful investigation that y'all have done and that is on the website and through the different roundtables, but to start to let people know about Dr. King in Virginia and to use the bridge as a means to an end there in terms of the fact that it's an extraordinary bridge. And a lot of y'all maybe have seen it so many times from afar. If you look at it from up on Broad Street, up near the Capitol coming down, everybody can see it, but a lot of people just don't know that it is that bridge. And so we want to change that fact and then to use this event hopefully in a growing scenario that each year will grow in size and purpose. What we're going to do this year is we're going to have birthday cards that we're asking young people and adults of all ages to do for Dr. King, and we've arranged to be able to show them up on the bridge, and then we're going to have underneath an opportunity for people to do birthday cards. We're engaging the mural artists of Richmond to do a birthday banner that we'll do, that will be a public participation art project that'll be on that day, and that we're going to go ahead and give that banner to the Martin Luther King Middle School to be able to hold inside. But mostly, I'm here just to tell you that we want to do what we can to support the commission in its promotion of Dr. King, and that we want y'all to see this as an event that we're going to put together for the commission, and that anything that we can do, we would like to do. We've had the opportunity to work with Lily Jones and Amigo Wade and others in the past in presenting information about the commission, about the Emancipation Statue and other things at the events that we've been doing, and we'd like to continue that. And we are hoping that over time there can be more things that we can do that not only promote what you're doing from a commission perspective, but just to get more people to embrace the life and legacy of Dr. King. And so this is kind of a invitation and information, and we just want you to know that we're here to work for you, and that we look forward to hearing, not necessarily today, but in the future, how we can present things for the commission, and that we would appreciate anything y'all can do to help us get the word out about the event. And if there's any opportunity to help to try to direct a couple of funds to our efforts, we would appreciate that. But it's more about getting people to come to the event. We've got plenty of space, and it's something that we think will become an annual event, to the point that starting Tuesday, January 15th in 2025, we're going to still do it on Tuesdays because it's become that important. So I'm available to answer any questions, but mostly just wanted y'all to be aware. Dr. Carey has been aware of these things for a number of years, and I think some of you may have been aware of some of the things that we're doing, and we just want you to know that we're a part. We hope for you to be a partner with us, and that we've felt to be a partner of you from the past.
Thank you. Before I open up for questions, I have a couple of logistical questions. So will there be tables, or will it be all open space, or just trying to envision logistically?
We're going to have tables under the bridge. Obviously, choosing a date for an outside event of January 15th is potentially problematic. But again, that's one of the beauties of the bridge is that we have an extraordinary amount of space under the bridge, so that regardless of what the weather is, that we're going to be fine, and that we'll have tables under there. We're hoping for a nice 45-degree sunny day. That's the reservation that I put in, so that we can utilize the outside fields and to be able to have vendors and activities outside as well. We're involving the Police Athletic League is coming in and doing some activities in the fields, again, to be weather appropriate. We're going to have the MLK cheerleaders from the middle school, and we'll have an event stage that'll be available. And then there'll be interactive programming for young people and all. We're going to do soup and hot drinks free, no charge for people, and get some of the churches in the East End, some of the nonprofits to be a part of that. And again, Chat and Churchill Academy are helping us. But we would have room for any table, and we want this to be a information dissemination opportunity, and we've got plenty of room.
Okay. So the reason I ask is as part of your, and in case you all hadn't noticed, that's the yellow sheet in your packet. You talk about having materials connected to the statue. We also have a King in Virginia project where we have compiled information about Dr. King's visits, so we may be able to put some material either through a banner or a poster or
anything like that, we would welcome. We want this to be an every year event, so our goal is that whatever we're able to do this year that we can build on next year. The students and the whole school of Churchill Academy is going to be putting together this very wonderful display, information display that will involve larger pictures. We'd like to have a couple of videos. I'm hoping maybe Senator McClellan, we might be able to get a video from you that we could run, and that it will be an interactive display that will be outside but still very compelling. And to the extent that we could have a larger picture of this to be able to present, that which we'll return back or keep for the next year or whatever, that would be incredible. And that's also what we're looking for the Black History Museum. I've shared the website on the King in Virginia that you've put together so well. So you've given us all the background. And what we're hoping is the Black History Museum will be able to find images and maybe people and whatever that can help to support that information and make it a more compelling presentation.
We can help with that. We do have photographs and some artifacts that are in our possession. And we also have, people who participated in our King in Virginia Beloved Community Conversations who were present when Dr. King was here. So that is something we could easily partner with the Black History Museum to the extent we have things that they would want to put on display. We could.
Well, that's what I was thinking and hoping is that when you have an institution of that quality, to be able to make sure that you know that your things are being taken care of properly. And again, I think that if we're looking to try to orient people to Dr. King, what better way to do it than to show the time that he was here and the things that he did when he was here, because that's not necessarily what a lot of Virginians are aware of, and it'll open the door for other investigations.
Okay. Does any commission members have questions?
Yes, Madam Chair and Mr. Tatnall, thank you. What about parking in that area?
We have parking in the front of the preschool. We have parking behind the middle school. We have parking that we're going to take advantage of in the parking lot for the Commonwealth Catholic Charities down on 18th Street. We have hundreds and hundreds of parking spots. And that doesn't even include then going over to the letter streets, O and P and Q and R, that would have lots of spots on a Saturday as well. And it's, Chat's going to help us with their buses, so they're going to utilize the buses to be able to bring people to and from. We're hoping to orient to some of the Fairfield House, or Fairmount House and Churchill houses to be able to utilize buses that might be able to bring folks. Same thing with churches. There's a number of turnaround opportunities there. And then there's bike lanes. So we've got lots of ways to get there, but definitely hundreds and hundreds of parking spots.
Okay, thank you. I'm thinking of vans also, for example, bringing faculty, students, staff from University of Richmond. Would they need to contact someone on your staff regarding
I could,
permits or
yeah,
reservations or something?
yeah, there wouldn't be any issue with that, and what we would do would be, the school's used to buses coming every day, so we can keep doing that. They do have handicap accessible access from up where the buses would be down to the area, and we can very much, that's a wonderful opportunity for this space to be able to have bus loads of people come and to be dropped off and picked up, and that we could even probably find ways where they could stage the buses to be able to wait.
So they would contact
So they
you?
contact me.
All right, here's that information.
I will get with Lily to get all that information to each of the members, if that's okay.
Thank you.
Our goal is to facilitate, in any way possible. We're going to have the event, and then your ideas are wonderful, and we want to do everything we can to make as many people available to the event as possible.
Any additional questions? Mary, did you want to add anything? Okay. Okay, so it sounds like the ask is that the commission partner with Replenish Richmond and the Black History Museum on the 2022 Freedom Fest with the potential to continue in additional years. Is there a motion?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Can I just ask, what is our obligation as we partner? Are we expected beyond providing materials or information? Is there more beyond that?
Oh, no.
Okay.
No, it's for you to provide what you would like. In the past, again, we've had flyers about the Emancipation Statue and other things that we've given out at events, and I've returned them when they were in bulk back to Lily. But we would do the same, as well as the opportunity of any banners or larger items, which obviously we wouldn't necessarily keep, but that we could utilize that day and then return back. We would be asking for access to those to be able to make the presentation more compelling.
Okay, I would have a motion then.
Okay.
Move to endorse and partner with the MLK Freedom Fest for 2022.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Madam Chair, if
yes.
it could just be subject to prior approval, I guess, by you or others, as far as the use of any commission material and or the commission name?
Yes, okay. So do you accept that as?
Yes.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. And I'll coordinate with Lily on things if that works for you.
It does, thank you.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Thank you all for your time.
So we also have in your packet Reverend Milner, who unfortunately could not make it with us, had put some information for additional activities that the commission could do for King Day, for the King holiday in 2022. And unfortunately, since he's not here to present it, so what he suggests is we could do one or more of the following. So we could issue a statement ahead of the King holiday urging communities and organizations to commemorate the holiday, appeal to the executive branch to issue a proclamation and ahead of the holiday reinforcing the commission's appeal, Model in the Richmond, Petersburg communities an initiative inviting citizens to enroll and commit to action to finish the unfinished work of making the dream a true reality. Provide a resource, web-based and hard copy defining and outlining marks of the beloved community. Promote with statewide communication spotlighting the Emancipation Monument. Any discussion? Delegate McQuinn.
Madam Chair, not necessarily discussion, just for, may have a few words I had spoke to Dr. Milner. Spoke to Dr. Milner on several occasions about this. And I think what he's trying to do, really give it a more global approach coming from the commission, who's probably in many ways the face statewide of the work that's being done in the name of Dr. Martin Luther King. And so I think he probably trying to elevate it a little more in terms of what's being done. Certainly Virginia Union has been amazing in terms of this leadership breakfast that goes on, but I don't know if we necessarily hear as much in terms of a commonwealth from the bench of the executive and legislators for that matter. So I just think he's trying to say, hey, should we put more spotlight on this and make it a little bigger in terms of elevating Dr. King and his work? Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for that. So on the legislative piece, and just for all the, I think the commission, I know the legislative members are aware, I'm not sure all the members are aware. On the King holiday, actually the Senate and the House have different rules. So usually in the Senate on Dr. King's birthday, I give a speech and we adjourn in his honor and memory. In the House, they do it on the actual holiday, and this year, because his birthday is on a Saturday, and I'll have to talk to Madam Rules Chair and Madam Clerk, I think we will probably try to do both on the holiday this year. So from a legislative perspective, that is how we honor, as a commission, the holiday. But I certainly agree we could work with either, and it's a little complicated because the incoming governor will be inaugurated on the actual birthday. So getting a proclamation issued on King Day will be a little more logistically challenging, but not impossible. Or we could have the outgoing governor do it right before, if the commission wants to move forward with that. As far as issuing a statement, that's easy. And we may even want to have an op-ed, either jointly done by the chair and the co-chair, and pitched to a number of, all of the state newspapers. So the issuing a statement is easy. Any other thoughts, comments, suggestions, questions?
Madam Chair, would this be if it's done under Governor Northam, would this be the last proclamation?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
That'd be a good capstone to the work that he's done.
Okay.
Especially since Dr. Underwood has been in charge of.
Delegate McQueen.
Madam Chair, I think it's certainly befitting for us to put a little bit more time in this based on the landscape, political and otherwise, that we're dealing with, not just in our Commonwealth, but in our nation. So, I think in terms of the philosophy of Dr. King and what he stood for in terms of kind of unity and bonding and people walking together in brotherhood. I just, I think it's very appropriate for us to see what else we could do to elevate the message
Okay.
at this time.
Any other suggestions of what we'd want to do for 2022?
I think the idea of doing an op-ed from Madam Chair and Vice Chair would be really good and could also call attention to our work in ways that people could celebrate the memory of Dr. King. And you might even, if it's sent out to newspapers, might even send it out with a copy of the picture of the monument and talk about a little bit about what the commission has done to celebrate his life's work.
We could also do a video that would be posted on our Facebook page and on the members' social media platforms on that day. I mean, I don't know how, like, just,
Madam Chair, I wonder if, particularly when you said Facebook, social media, I'm wondering if Comcast would do something to,
well, we can ask.
I mean, to sort of, I guess, publicize the sort of,
PSA.
yeah.
We can ask. Or we can ask Comcast, we can ask
Senator.
VPM.
Yeah,
Your
yeah.
VPN.
Okay.
Senator Chair, so I'm thinking the op-ed along with the social media on our website and the members' website, in addition to, if we could get that proclamation, go all the way.
Yep.
Don't half-step.
Don't what?
Don't half-step, not you, but
Right, right.
all of us.
Yeah.
Just put it out there.
Yes. Okay. Well, I think those are three things we have not done before that definitely would take it to the next. I mean, usually we just do the speech and that's it. The floor speeches and that's it. So.
You know, Madam Chair, it might be worthwhile for the commission to invest in a audiovisual production that could be shown every year, that would have a lifeline to it that you could use and distribute to public television or other places. Not that we need any more work, but just, you know, I mean, an asset like that would have long legs.
Yes.
I think doing that in 1 month is a challenge.
And I understand that, but I think in the
Yeah.
long run, investing
do
in
think,
something
yes.
like that would be
I
a
agree.
first-rate production.
I agree.
Madam Chair, perhaps that would be something to debut in February, if we could do it that quickly for Black History Month. But I also want to ask, since we have 19,000 available, could the funds be used for that video? If we use it with the Emancipation and Freedom Monument as well, showing of that in the context of Martin Luther King.
So we have several pots of money. And Amigo's gonna jump in a minute. We have operating funds as a commission. Actually, Amigo, why don't you walk through all our pots of money?
Yes, ma'am. Madam Chair, I think that it probably, you probably don't want to use the 19,000 because it's for a specific donated purpose. We want to probably keep that as closely connected to the actual monument. We have, the commission has carry forward funds which can be used for one-time payments that are outside of operating costs. And you also have an operating budget that you haven't used a lot of because you haven't had a lot of meetings. So there are some, and you have a special fund which is about 20,000 in it, which It's just been sitting there for years and years. So you have lots of parts. Probably the easiest one would be maybe the carry forward fund, because that's money that, you may have to give back at some point if the finance committee asks for it back. But yes, you have lots of sources.
Okay, there's not a lot of money, but I mean.
Oh, yeah, I didn't mean to make it
Right.
seem like, yeah, because.
Remember, we
yeah.
spent almost 1.2 million on the monument itself, but yes, we did.
Madam Chair, on something like this, I'm not a betting person, but I would almost wager that there would be a lot of production companies or ad agencies that would want this as a portfolio credit and would
Okay.
probably do a first-rate job. And I can talk with you about how to set that up to see if we can find interest.
Okay, so why don't we do this? I think there are two different actions. One is what we will do for the 2022 holiday, and then I will set up a working group to develop. I'll just say audiovisual. Actually, I'm going to just say broader, set up a working group to develop plans for commemorating the holiday going forward. And I want it that broad because it could be, that we decide we want to do something specifically connected to King and Virginia. We could want to do something that highlights the work of the commission overall, or we could want to do something that focuses mainly on Dr. King. So I'd want to give that working group flexibility to come up with something permanent going forward.
I agree.
All right, so it sounds like for 2022, we want floor remarks as usual, op-eds, ask for a gubernatorial proclamation. I missed one. What am I missing? Oh, the video, like a social media video. So I will entertain a motion for that.
I would so move, Madam Chair.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and then I will entertain a motion for a working group to develop long-term commission activity around the King holiday.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and if any of you want to be on that working group, Dr. Schroeder, you're going to be on it.
Thank you.
All right, Senator Eben.
I will.
I'd be delighted to be on it, Betsy Carr.
Okay. So I got Dr. Carey, Delegate Carr, Dr. Lee, Senator Eben, and Dr. Schroeder, and Delegate McQuinn. And,
Thank you.
okay. All right. I mean, she gonna have a lot of free time. Look. She gonna, oh, we're gonna put you, by the way, you're getting appointed to the Senator Miller committee. Yeah, we figured.
I'm easy to love.
She's about to have a little more time on her hands.
Madam
Okay.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
could I ask a question about the second motion?
Mm-hmm.
I'm in favor of it. I would like to think that we could give some more parameters to the group going forward. I know that the discussion was to put more emphasis that Dr. Milner spoke of, to put more emphasis on the King holiday. But my concern is that we say, do something for 5 years or something going forward or some other parameters that make sure that there's an emphasis on Dr. King's tributes and all of the things that he accomplished visiting, whether it's Virginia or any other place. I just would not want it to be something that we're looking at that's kind of like not thrown together,
Right.
but does not have enough emphasis that makes a difference in terms of us putting it together. I mean, the 1 month away, of course, I think we can do that, but for years to come with the emphasis
Yeah.
that I think we need, it's going to be important.
So the second piece, I will convene a working group and with the broad mission of developing, permanent and ongoing programming or activity around the holiday focused on Dr. King. And then as part of the working group discussions, that's when the parameters will be developed.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, so still on the holiday, we have every year Virginia Union hosts the Community Leader Celebration. Unfortunately, technically this year and next year are virtual events due to COVID. But you have in front of you the flyer that has sponsorship and giving levels. We have traditionally purchased a table, and since it is virtual again, what we did in 2021 was we purchased a sponsorship. And so the action before us here is if we want to purchase a sponsorship again, and if so, at what level?
Madam Chair,
Delegate McQuinn.
question, what level did we sponsor last year, do you know?
Lily or Amigo?
Last year, we got the community sponsorship level, $2,000.
Okay, community sponsorship, okay.
Which is the analog to a table sponsorship.
Okay. All right. Well, I would move that there would be the community sponsorship again at a level of $2,000.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. All right, so unless there are any other questions or comments around the King holiday, the next item is our King and Virginia programming. As you all may recall, when the commission moved forward to commemorate the 50th anniversary of Dr. King's death, we created the King and Virginia Working Group, and we held a series of beloved community conversations in all of the localities that we had documentation that Dr. King visited, where we talked about why he was there, where that community is in achieving his vision of a beloved community, and where we go from here. We held 13 of those conversations. They are all on our website. And we had some discussion pre-COVID about, we had originally lumped Petersburg. He made visits to downtown Petersburg, but he also made visits to Virginia State. And I think we had lumped together Virginia State as part of the Petersburg trip. But Petersburg is actually physically in Chesterfield County. Chesterfield County is a very different community. And so we had some conversation pre-COVID about doing a beloved community conversation at Virginia State. And then COVID got in the way. So this is more an update because we had already voted to do this. We don't need to vote again. But we will resume conversations with Virginia State. Originally, we were going to even try to have it be a fundraiser to benefit the monument. But we will revisit discussions with Virginia State about hosting that event in depending on whether they want to do this academic year or next academic year. So that is still on the table. We had also talked about whether now all of these were in 2018, so that's, 4 years ago. Yeah, we did, that's right, we did 2 in 2019. We had also talked about, do we want to expand to localities where Dr. King didn't go? Or do we want to revisit some places where he did and just kind of refresh and have another conversation? So I kind of wanted to get a sense of the, so that's on the Beloved Community Conversations. I wanted to get a sense of the commission, what we want to do with the community conversations. We also have, through this whole process, collected a lot of information, and in some cases, artifacts of Dr. King's visits. Do we want to talk about, doing an exhibit somewhere specifically focused on Dr. King's visits, either at the Black History Museum, the Virginia Museum of History and Culture, the Library of Virginia, in the Capitol. I mean, there are many options for that. So wanted to explore with the commission whether that is something we want to charge the King and Virginia Working Group to do as well.
Madam Chair.
Dr. Lee?
I like the idea of revisiting the communities, but to inquire from them what they have done and are doing to advance the cause of Dr. King. So it's not us so much giving, but them relaying to the public what they are doing and have done, and what their challenges are.
Okay.
I'd also like to think about perhaps honoring Mrs. Teresa Walker. She is the wife of the late Wyatt T. Walker. She's 93 or 4 now, still has all her faculties, and was a freedom rider, arrested maybe 15 times or so. Is there the possibility of honoring her in some way? She is a resident of Chesterfield as well, and perhaps doing something at Virginia State.
Yes, there are a number of ways we could do that. We could invite her to the Virginia State Beloved Community and honor her there. We could do a commending resolution and try to do a center aisle presentation in the House or the Senate. We could do something either at the church where Reverend Walker ministered, or in connection with the Petersburg Library, because she also was part of that sit-in. So yes, there are many. And that's just, I mean, the short answer is yes, and the longer answer is those are some possible ways, and I'm sure there are others.
Madam Chair, can I just throw something completely out of left field? Why don't we just do like an art contest of what Dr. King means, ask the state superintendent just to circulate it, put a $1,000 first place prize, a second place prize, and a third prize, and give out a certificate, and let's see what comes in. I don't think, in other words, to set the rules, I'm happy to set art contest rules. It's simply asking the state superintendent to let the school divisions know and otherwise promote it, print up some certificates, award a prize, and see what that might look like. What do you think, Ron? Do you think that? You're the school administrator. Yeah, I don't think that would be a big lift, especially if there's a monetary prize.
We've done it before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Doug McQuinn?
Yeah, but could this be in addition to Dr. Lee's suggestion? I mean, this be in addition to what she has suggested in terms of actually recognizing her?
Yes.
I mean, Madam Chair, the thing, and I don't know how, in terms of her faculties, is she still basically, okay?
I just saw her last week.
Yeah, because I think that, she's probably got some messages that a lot of us need to hear as a female who was a part of, but not directly engaged in, this struggle. And for the most part, we've recognized men, who have been, and we know, as everybody else knows, that the women certainly were a lot more engaged than we were given credit for, or than that the women were given credit for. So, I mean, we may want to even have her, somewhere as we honor her or whatnot, to even be a keynote.
So, yeah, I was
you know what I'm
actually just
saying?
thinking, we have
Yeah.
her be the keynote
Mhm.
for the Virginia State,
Yeah.
King and Virginia
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah, that would be,
Yeah,
and recognize her even still, yeah.
we could do that, yeah. So I hear two different strands, and before I lose Kirk's, would that art contest, would that be something more appropriate for the King holiday, or?
Whatever, I just think we ought to touch the education system and see what comes back.
Okay.
If it interferes with Dr. Lee's proposal or whatnot, it's not.
It doesn't, I think they're two different things. But I do want to park it because we had talked about doing either an art or an essay contest as part of our Lynching in Virginia working group for the second semester of this year. So if we do, I wouldn't want to have two contests going at the same time. So we would want to talk through, which one would we want to do this semester, and which one would we want to do on the next academic year?
Whatever, I think the arts bring out all sorts of creativity, and you never know what you're going to get and what kind of inspiration will come about.
Okay.
That's just me. I mean, obviously an essay is very worthwhile as well.
Okay.
And Senator Chair.
But I'm sorry. I was just going to say, I think there ought to be a prize. I think there ought to be a certificate. We ought to honor and do a 1, 2, 3 or honorable mention, or even do it by region. You can do it by superintendent region.
Okay.
So.
And Madam Chair, we're talking K through 12?
Yes.
Okay. I think also about community colleges and collegiate. But let me ask, what will we do with the artwork? Because remember when we did this before, we had to make some decisions about where we would put the artwork, and I don't remember where that is, unless it would remain in the community.
So I think you raise a good point. The new General Assembly building will be completed theoretically, and we will begin moving in this fall. We might want to wait to solicit art until we are rehoused in our permanent location. And we could even tie it in so that we would have art that would be displayed. We used to do art on several floors of the old General Assembly building during session. And so that's one possibility, is have an art contest to select. The prize winners would be displayed in the new General Assembly building, but focused on 2023, in January 2023.
Madam Chair, I think that's an excellent idea, and I also think it's nice because the General Assembly is in session on MLK Day.
Yeah.
And there's so many visitors, so if we get enough lead time for kind of an art contest so that it's well publicized in advance to receive the things maybe by the time the session convenes, have kids do it in the fall semester.
Yeah.
It could be really well timed.
Yeah.
For public display.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to do that.
Madam Chair, what's the process for judging these? I mean, if you've done it before, what was the process that was used to judge this?
We had a subcommittee that did it, and so I would appoint a subcommittee to do that.
That's the heavy lifting, Madam Chair.
Yes.
Judging art contests.
Yeah. Actually, I think I take that back. It was We did it at a meeting. We did it at a work group. This is, I gotta
we
check with
did.
Brenda. We did it tied into the commemoration of the Emancipation Proclamation. And I think the Emancipation Subcommittee selected the winners at a meeting. But I will ask Brenda, the source of all institutional knowledge. Okay. So it sounds like we are definitely doing Virginia State. And I will I will have the King and Virginia working group convene just to flesh out the rest of what the programming will look like around that, but that we do want to continue doing King and Virginia programming. All right, I know we're coming up on the end, so I want to give an update on the history of lynching in Virginia work group. We had last year decided to do regional programming, and due to COVID, no one was comfortable doing in-person events. So everything got pushed off, and we'll sort of restart in 2022, with the exception we did do a virtual program, I believe with the University of Richmond, during the session, so like January, February. And then there was a monument, I mean, not a monument, a highway marker unveiled in Harrisonburg, recognizing the lynching that occurred there. There is, and I think this is in your packet, there is another highway marker being unveiled this Saturday in Essex. Is that in our packets? Oh, yeah.
There's a picture of
Yeah.
one of the markers.
Yes. So I want to make sure, I will be attending and speaking at this. And what I'm going to do, oh yeah, here we go. So we now have had 4 highway markers dedicated to lynchings that occurred in Virginia that you see in your packet. The first in Charles City County, one in Harrisonburg, one in Wise County, one to be dedicated this weekend in Essex. And then there was an Equal Justice Initiative marker in Charlottesville, and a local Loudoun County marker for Orion Anderson. So part of what we were charged with doing was working to make sure that we are getting more highway markers. So this is sort of the report of what we have done. And then going forward, at our next meeting, we will have, hopefully, a rough schedule of when the regional programs will be. Any questions on that? And then the last thing, typically we will do commemorative resolutions. I did a search to see if there were any significant anniversaries coming up in 2022 and did not find any. Most of the resolutions we have done recently have been Reconstruction related. The only significant event that occurred in 1872 was amnesty, the Amnesty Act, which I do not think we want to commemorate, unless someone has a different idea, but that does not seem consistent with our mission. So unless anyone else knows of something that is and when I say significant, like 50, 25, 100, 75, coming up in 2022, I don't think we will have any resolutions this year. All right.
Do you know where we're at with Brown? The Brown decision, are we at any significant?
Wasn't that 54?
52.
54?
So we will be in a couple of years. 68, is that what you said? Wow. Well, you were born that year. Okay.
There's a direct correlation.
Yes. All right, well, is there any other business?
Senator, oh, go ahead.
Senator Evans?
Just to clarify, where are we on the recognition of Senator Miller? We brought it up before, but is that?
So where we are is I am appointing a working group. I'll pull the rest of the committee members that want to join, but currently it's Dr. Lee, Dr. Schroeder, Delegate McQuinn, myself, and Senator Locke. And after session, that working group will convene to start discussions on how we want to
Great.
what we want to do for that recognition. Dr. Reverend Brown.
Yes, going back just a little bit to Mrs. Walker. 3 years ago, we honored some ladies in the community who were in their 90s, and I asked that we did it because we didn't know since they were in their 90s.
Yeah.
And a couple of them, after the honor, they're gone.
Right.
So can we jump on it?
Yeah, no, we will. No, what we're gonna, so as soon as I leave this meeting, I will call Eldon at Virginia State to work on a date for that community conversation and ask that it be next semester.
I say that too because her son came to the unveiling of the monument and she didn't come.
Right.
So, yeah.
I think she was planning to until
Okay.
the weather forecast. We had quite a bit of rain that day. Yeah. And the clouds parted just as at the right moment, by the way. All right, any other business? Yes.
Madam Chair, I don't have any, anyway. I think that Delegate Cole, this will be
Yes.
his probably last official meeting in, how about 2021? And we shall see, right? But it's, yes, right. But I certainly want to think that we should just thank him for his service and serving on this committee and all the contributions that he has made as serving in this capacity. We certainly appreciate it.
Yes.
Appreciate him.
Thank you, Delegate. I will remind people that working group members do not have to be members of the commission and are appointed at the chair's discretion. Right, so there are many opportunities for Delegate Cole to remain involved, and technically, the terms of the people appointed by the Speaker of the House, do they end with the, yes, so we may, but we don't know yet. And the new speaker has not been elected. We don't know what changes there might be there. But there is a possibility that some of the people appointed by the speaker may not be back. And if that's the case, we will find a way to thank them at the appropriate time. Well, I said we were going to adjourn at 3. We would have, but that was worth it. So we are adjourned.
That's good.
Thank you.